If you want to be a better sprinter, then you'd better become a long jumper. Well, what do I exactly mean? Well, to do the long jump, you need to be able to hit the board at optimum velocity in the right posture, the right sprint posture. And that sprint posture is optimal for actual maximum velocity mechanics when sprinting full out. Let me explain some more. To hit the board and take off effectively in the long jump, your torso needs to be upright and your pelvis needs to be in a balanced position. It doesn't want to be pushed backwards or forwards, so anteriorly or posteriorly. You need to sit on top of your hips, and this will enable you to hit the right takeoff position, a balanced position where you can get the knee up to a parallel, slightly above parallel to the ground position and away from your shoulders. If you try to take off with a posterior tilt, then you're going to have a lot of difficulty in getting that knee up and you're going to forward rotate. Hence, long jumpers run very upright in an optimal position as they approach the board, and that's ideal for maximum velocity sprinting. When it comes to sprinting, if your torso is not sitting vertically on top of your pelvis and your pelvis is in a neutral position, then you're not going to be able to get sufficient front side mechanics. This will affect the way your foot strikes and also how much power you can put into the ground. Sprinting and speed generation is all about transferring vertical velocity into horizontal velocity, and when we hit the ground on foot strike, the foot comes down a hammer blow and that converts into forward momentum. If that foot strike is made in the wrong position, flat-footed or heel first, which can be determined by the pelvic position, then we're not going to optimize our speed. Therefore, it's vital that we learn to run at maximum velocity in a correct position, and as I'm saying, that is with the pelvis in a neutral position, not pushed backwards or forwards, and the torso upright. A common fault with sprinters and long jumpers is sitting when they're running, and this basically means that their pelvis is closed, it's not open. So if you put your fingers on your front of your pelvis and push your backside forwards and back and rotate your pelvis, you'll get your pelvis underneath you and you'll feel your glutes tighten, and that's the position that your pelvis needs to be in when you're sprinting. So you are sitting on top of your hips, you're not squished down into your hips. Now, there are lots of drills and ways to activate your pelvis. I've just shown you one, for example, just there. But lots of sprint drills will get you into the right pelvic position, but you must always be conscious of that position when you are doing the drills, and ultimately, of course, when you are running and sprinting. If you run with an anterior pushed forward pelvis, then you're going to get a lot of backlift, and that backlift is going to mitigate against your front side mechanics and hitting a good thigh extension position in front of the hips. So again, we need to transfer that pelvis from that position into that position to get your torso straight up on your hips. If you also run with an anterior pelvic tilt, the chances are that your foot is going to come through to the front of the body in a more flat-footed position, and as I've alluded to earlier, that position is going to mitigate against transference of power. Basically, you're going to compromise the amount of power you can put into the track surface. From a conditioning point of view, working on your posterior chain is going to pay dividends when it comes to getting your pelvis into the right position when sprinting. So hip extensions, for example, are good exercises to enable you to get your glutes and your hamstrings sufficiently strengthened and also turned on, recruited, activated, so that you know the type of position that you require when you sprint. However, ultimately, to sprint optimally, you just need to be aware of what your pelvis is doing. I have a number of athletes who do flat foot strike because they push too much and their pelvis is anteriorly rotated. To try to cure this, we're getting them to do lots of cycling drills, high leg cycling drills, and cueing them to be tall on their hips, sometimes with hands overhead or holding a bar as well. If you hold a bar and push it straight up, then 9 times out of 10 your pelvis is going to get into the right postural position. It can be hard for a young athlete to switch between being a pusher with the pelvis in the wrong position to being a more upright sprinter, but in time the change will occur. And it's very important, if you are a young athlete, to work on your sprint technique and your pelvic position so that ultimately you'll be able to run as fast as you can when you get older. Well, I hope this insight into how your pelvic position, the position of your pelvis, can help you become a better sprinter. It's something that's often overlooked, so do pay attention to where your hips and pelvis are when you're sprinting, and always be conscious of being in the right positions. If you've any questions on the specific content of this video, then do leave a comment or a question in the section below or through my other social media. And please subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification icon so that you'll be notified as to when I upload new content. And do please give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to find out more about specific training for the indoor season, then why not consider becoming a channel member. I've just made a video which shows you my detailed training plan for this particular period, and a very specific one for an individual athlete who I coach remotely. So you'll be able to see exactly what I do in this phase in terms of reps and sets, and I'll give you further insights into the whys and wherefores. So head over to the channel's main page, click on the join button to see what offers are available. FREELAP have just launched a new piece of kit. Now, this looks like the TX Junior Pros, the pyramids, yellow pyramids, that record the times as the athletes pass them. But what this one does, it actually gives you the command on your marks and sets the athlete off with a bang. So it emits the sounds through a speaker built into it. It gives you a 10-second lead in once you press the set button, and then randomly within I think a 2.5 second period the gun will fire through the device to set you off. Now that triggers the system. So it's going to be a very accurate way to measure starts. If you want to find out more, then do get in contact with me. If you like the Jumps Squad merchandise that I often wear in these videos, then do check out the spring store. You'll see the products available underneath this video, for example, and I've launched a new backpack, rucksack, with the Jump Squad logo on it, so do check that out.